we can get started. And has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any changes or additions you want to add to them?
Two quick corrections, very quick. So in the new business, number 6, A1, the estimate is $10 per file. He normally charges $20 per file, but for us, he was only going to charge $10 per file. So I wanted to make that clear. So the estimate would only be $10.
Scratch out the 20.
Yes. And then it would take him 2 weeks, not 3 to 4 weeks. That's it.
2 weeks.
Yes, it wouldn't take 3 to 4 weeks, it would take him 2 weeks.
Okay, that's minor. We can take care of it. Anybody else notice anything?
I move we accept the minutes as corrected.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I think it was unanimous.
Yeah.
Who's serving as secretary for this meeting?
Cindy is.
Oh, that's
Okay.
right, sorry.
Cindy taking his minutes.
I didn't mean to.
Oh, that was good.
Well, what's wonderful is it was
Thank you for
recorded,
doing that.
and so.
Yeah, you can always go back and
Thanks
take
for
a
reminding
been here, done that.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful is it's recorded, so Cindy, as you're going through and like or reviewing your own, if you wanted to listen to the recording, that helps.
That really
Okay,
does.
that's great, thank you. And the item was, old business 6-1.
Yeah.
161.
6A1.
And I'll take care of those adjustments, or Brittany will,
Sure.
for the final product, so you don't need to touch that.
Did I just mention, you mean? Oh.
Just say they're corrected.
Just say approved as corrected.
Approved as corrected.
And since we have a new person here, I was wondering if we can do, introduction.
Yes, that would be good.
That would be fantastic.
I can go first.
Okay.
Well, wonderful.
I'm Kristen. I am the new supervisor over a few different areas of recreation in Callahan House Board that are my new job duties. I'm excited. Really looking forward to meeting all you guys and being more involved with Brittany and what she's doing here and all the exciting things that Callahan does and offers our community. I also oversee our large community special events, general leisure programming, and our therapeutic recreation.
So what is your whole title? Supervisor of
General programs.
general programs, okay.
I'm a recreation
program
supervisor. Period.
Period.
Superwoman.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, welcome. I'm Karen Reed.
I'm Ann Thompson.
Maureen McCoy as well.
Cindy Martini.
Okay, well, welcome. All right, and the next item on here would be the public, which I don't think we have a public today, so.
I do have a quick question with all the new job titles and everything. Is there a possible way that we can get an update for?
It's there.
Yeah, that's in the packet.
It's in the back.
Yay!
Yeah.
Nice chart.
I did glance through
I
it.
had asked that last meeting.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, do listen.
No, it's me. So, what a great segue. Let's go to the packet.
Let's go there.
And I included for you, recreation has been undergoing a subtle reorganization. I think 8 years ago, we did a rip the Band-Aid off reorganization, and then a year later, we ripped the Band-Aid off and reorganized the reorganization, which was really painful. And so when Jeff accepted a new position as the director of recreation and culture, and Ben took his position, or a new position, we started a subtle reorganization. So there used to be, on this big org chart with all the colors, when you went to the Assistant City Manager of External Services, that's a relatively new position, and it used to be Karen Roney had all these departments underneath her, and she was a very capable woman, And when she retired, they replaced that with 2 individuals. And one of those individuals is Jeff Friesner. And he does the recreation and culture, which is recreation, golf, library, museum. His counterpart does the human services side, and that is Christina Pacheco. And she does senior services, housing, youth services, and house services. So more the taking care of the human side, and then the other side is the once your needs are met, this is all the other things that one can do. When Jeff moved up, he kept some things that he traditionally did, and so the position for recreation became a superintendent of recreation and golf, and that's the position that Ben Wagner now fills. So he's in charge of golf services and is in charge of 3 distinct areas of recreation. One of them is the Longmont Recreation Center, which is the area supervisor is Chris Crone. He oversees not only operations of the Longmont Recreation Center, but has a specialty in fitness and athletics and field maintenance. So that's the area that he oversees. The other side is recreation with aquatic and ice, and that group oversees the pool operations and then the ice pavilion operations in the winter. And then for the memorial building area, Ben kind of followed Jeff's lead, and he kept a little bit of what he did before and kind of handed off the rest. And so that's where my change came in. Where I am now doing the area supervising with a specialty in business operations and marketing, and Ben is keeping the facility piece of the memorial building, and he's continuing with direct supervision of the program supervisor, which is Kristen. And as Kristen said, she oversees 3 different areas: the Callahan House, and Brittany being one, and then 3 other staff members, one of whom we are interviewing in the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
For that position.
So you still do all the marketing?
Yes, I'm involved with all the marketing still, still the rec track, and with the business operations within recreation at large. I had my old name there. I just officially started changing my name at the city last week.
Okay.
And so I signed my name as Rao like 12 to 15 times yesterday, and I kept putting a D and then making it an R. I am so not.
You're still confused.
I am still so confused. I'm like, that's not, okay, that is what it is. This it is, and I sent it out, so that's great.
So when is your last?
It's Rao, R-A-U.
Hey, that's easy.
That's nice.
It is. It's wow with an R. My husband is less enthusiastic about that one. That's not how I explain our name. I'm like, okay, well, you did provide me any other option.
Right.
So that's what I came up with.
That's nice, thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes.
And it was hard to do the org chart for recreation because this is very very one-dimensional, and our report structure is very much not one-dimensional, and these people aren't necessarily.
Doesn't really line up like this.
No, it doesn't, but
Oh well.
yes, yeah. So that was it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Sharing that with us.
So a curious question is the Callahan House listed on this?
No, it follows the opposite is culture.
Culture.
Recreation, golf, library, museum, Callahan House is under recreation, and so you will see that.
Okay, so because it falls under recreation, it's
Correct.
under on that next chart.
So we're not on a colorful chart.
No,
I was gonna say, why aren't we in the?
Yeah.
no, that's
Culture
that's
list.
the high dive of
Color.
the high dive of things.
Okay.
And that was provided not by me, that was
Yeah, this is the city manager's
city
office.
manager's office.
Alright.
So is there any more discussion from the packet? There's still some other pages here we can go through.
Is that to come from items from staff and
Yeah, I don't know, I was
Seven?
kind of,
I think,
I'm not 100% sure.
I think the rest of it will wait.
Okay, all right, well, that was great
I
then.
apologize for getting out of order there,
I think it was in the first order, actually. So
It was.
it's good to go.
Okay, so we can move on to old business now. So we'll start with the status of the SHF grant project.
It's happening.
It's happening.
It's going on. No, it's been great. They finished the concrete last Friday. It was really interesting to see. It was, a little nerve-wracking taking out the big chunks and whatnot, but I think they did a great job. I think you can hardly tell in a lot of places. So that is complete as far as I understand. Window plexiglass has been removed, and they did take some of the windows out for restoration. And the plan is to put store windows over those instead, so it'll be a clear covering instead of the plexiglass, which yellows over time. So I think that would be a great option for protection and keeping it clear and being able to really enjoy those details.
Clear and
So,
pretty is
Clear and
exactly.
pretty, yeah,
exactly.
Really quick.
Wow, you can really see the gardening
Exactly.
very well.
Yeah, no, it's really nice to see in and out. And as you can see, we've got some the wood coverings of the windows that are under restoration and waiting to come back. And I'm not sure exactly what the timeline is on those, but they'll be done by September.
It looks like they're prepping for paint.
Yes, paint just started yesterday.
Okay.
So yeah, they did all of the taping and trimming and all of that. And actually some folks were here a few weeks ago too, removing lead paint and scraping and whatnot. So yeah, painting started yesterday afternoon.
Great.
So yeah, those three big projects are on track. So yeah, that's great. It's been fun to see.
And then Ben met with the contractor to get a quote for the repair of this item over here and a couple other punch lists, also installing and repairing the wall for the hanging project upstairs. We're gonna have them take care of that, or at least we're requesting, I think, for that. I don't know that we've gotten that, I don't know where we're at getting the answer back, but it has been met with the contractor and they're preparing that, and we hope to see that answer.
Okay, well, that's good information. The next is Art Walk, and I can talk to that. It's rolling along really good. We've got the artists all set up, the music is looking good. We're getting an exact count on the number of easels right now, and if you can let us know if you need an easel or not.
you have to tell me what exactly you want. I think you said you wanted one
Well,
item in front of the curve.
that would have to be a small with tabletop, because we've got an artist in there with 3 big easels. But yeah, if you need a tabletop in there. But if you want a floor easel for upstairs, so those we have to order, the rim, that's what I was asking.
So can a floor easel go just one?
They take up they have a big footprint. Yeah, they have, when they're opened up, and so it would take away something from the artist. That's why, but we could do a tabletop in there. That doesn't take as much of a floor space. But upstairs, you can have a floor easel there.
So yeah, I was gonna order those ASAP.
So right now we
About
need
how many
6,
we need.
but if we want one, we can order.
I think, you know what, if we have a table upstairs and we can put just tabletops up there too, we don't.
You sure? Okay.
easel at all.
Okay, then we can use a tabletop down here.
They're just kind of, the tabletop ones are not huge, like
They don't have a big footprint.
hold something about like this, if that works for you.
Big enough to hold, remember I told you that the sizes was 22-inch by 20-inch?
It should.
Probably.
Yeah, I think you're okay.
I think there's one tabletop that's a bigger tabletop.
There's a couple bigger ones.
They're all different sizes, but I think there's one rather larger one. We'll find it. We'll make it.
I'm sure we'll make it one.
Okay, we have to rent or acquire some floor easels anyway, so we might get an extra depending on cost and
I
we'll
wouldn't
make it work.
I wouldn't go purchasing anything, I'm sure.
Okay.
Okay, any questions on our walk?
We do need to arrange times of.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, I was thinking of that at home, and then I just forgot it. So, yeah, we usually split it up a little, because it is a long day. So, for the first shift, usually if you bring, you have artists coming and you do, well, because you work here, so, and you have the band coming, or, I don't know if it's a band or an ensemble. Ensemble's a better.
Yeah, well, it's a
I don't
jazz band.
Yeah.
Musicians.
So
Musicians.
So Brittany probably want to come for the first shift. And so we need one more person on the first shift. Any volunteers?
I'll do it.
Okay, first.
I can do it, because that way that might be best, because I'm gonna be setting things
Oh.
up.
Oh, yeah,
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 that
sure.
works.
Okay, why don't you do it?
Okay, so
that's
us
fine.
three are the first
Good.
shift.
What
and
are
then
the hours for the first shift?
first shift is 3 to 6.
Okay.
Because, and you can come earlier than 3 if you want, but 3 is official to 6. And,
I'll probably be here by, well, I'll be here earlier, so if anybody wants to come
Yeah.
earlier for free.
And I might
I'm gonna
come
be
a
here for the whole,
Yeah.
You're gonna be here.
so yeah, I'll be here at least by 2 or something like that.
And the second
Who else
shift-
is gonna be in that first shift?
I will be here.
Karen, Maureen, Karen, and I.
Okay.
And then Brittany will be here. And then the second shift is 6 to approximately 8:30. I mean, you have to include the tear down. So 6 to 8 is the actual art walk, but then you have tear down and helping the artists a little bit. So yeah, I think it's a faster tear down than setup.
Yeah.
So we give an hour for setup, but they're ready to go home too.
Right.
But there is a little overlap between.
Yeah, you
first
don't
and
just
second.
leave. You gotta stay.
But between the first and second shifts, there's a little bit of an overlap. If I remember, it's about
6.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
Just come a little
So
early.
if you can come about 5:30, because then that would put you from 5:30 to 8:30, and it's really not gonna take that long to wait. It's the same length of time from each shift, like 3 to 6, 5:30 to 8:30. But it won't even, you won't even be here
So,
until
yeah.
8:30.
It's always fun. So one thing to remember for the people working too is one of our responsibilities is to kind of watch people. We don't want they're all coming from Art Walk. They've got food and drinks. We don't want that coming in the house. So we kind of have to catch them at the doorway, and it's they're sneaky. I mean, some of them get by you, so you got to
Yeah,
be
they
careful.
do.
If you happen to see somebody made it into the house,
So we might wanna put a trash can.
maybe by the porch.
Should we
Um,
put a sign too, so we don't have to tell we can tell people,
We could
but
do some signage.
there'd be less of that to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Signage is always good.
And they could go to the garden and finish there.
Yeah, 'cause we're gonna have chairs
Yeah.
there,
But
tables.
I have a lot, so I was talking with the musicians and they wanted to know, they did say, I'm not 20, so we're gonna have to take a break. Is there a specific time that you want us to take breaks at?
It's up to them. I would say what's the busiest time is of course the first 2 hours. I mean, that's when everybody comes, and then it slows. I think there's a little slack period. We could, if they don't mind playing
Over
through
the
busy
dinner
period.
hour.
Yeah, so maybe, let's see, we start at 4 or 5, 6:30 maybe they can take breaks, 6:30, yeah. What do they need, 15 minutes?
15, 20 minutes. But
I
I
would
was
say
laughing, I'm
6:30.
like, no, you have to play the whole
You
time.
can't leave.
You can't leave, and he's like, at a certain point, we do have to take a break.
Yeah, bathroom breaks, yeah. But I would say roughly
Whatever you
6:30 would be a good time.
Okay, okay.
So,
So the second shift is then going to be Karen, Reed, and Cindy
And
and
can't.
Candy.
that'll teach her to miss the meeting before.
Oh,
She won't mind. She's
No.
good about it.
I'll come for those. Okay.
thank you.
Okay, I'll be here for a chunk of time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so moving on,
Actually, I'm sorry.
oh,
And do you think, and I believe that Betsy can be here, and I'm waiting to find out about Jacqueline, but, does that give us enough people for setup?
will she be here for the early? Yeah, and I'll probably try to get here a little earlier too, because we have to haul a few tables out and stuff. It'll
Yeah,
take some time.
tables and chairs and
Yeah.
stuff, but will that'll be, okay.
Did you talk to Jacqueline just to ask her how many tables she remembers having on? Or she didn't really set up. I think about 5 or 6 tables is what we have.
We can,
That
yeah,
sticks in
we've
my mind.
got plenty of tables and chairs
Yeah.
around, so we can kind of do whatever we
Yeah.
wanna do, but I think they're up on the sleeping porch and they're in the auto house, so there's gonna be a little bit of moving and hauling, which I'm
Yeah.
happy to take the lead on. And, I can haul stuff around and then maybe y'all can set up chairs or.
And is there any way we
like
could
that,
get some
but-
help from the city with that? Move some of this stuff?
We are listening.
Yeah,
Yeah. We don't have to all set it up on that day. So after the meetings are done on Wednesdays, we could do some preset of other.
Or maybe at least bring the
Yeah, I
tables
can-
downstairs.
I can probably do that on Thursday.
Yeah, so they're already downstairs and then we just have to haul them outside.
Yeah, will that work?
Yeah, that would be helpful.
For a staff meeting that morning, so if anybody's available in the afternoon after our meeting, could come over after.
That's cool, okay.
Brittany, if you need some extra hands or some help, I can swing by to help, just, it's no problem.
Okay.
And you're
Yeah, I
for
for
sure
sure.
gonna be-
Yeah, you're, so you're gonna be,
Yeah,
I know I'm
but if
folding
you-
out chairs
But
and
if
things
it
like
takes
that.
anything in advance, a lot of movement, I'm able-bodied, I can.
Okay.
I
certainly
can set up
appreciate.
chairs, I'm not great at carrying things downstairs.
No, that's
And that's
nice.
what
I'll
they
try to have
do,
those
downstairs.
Not be
pulled
putting you out
down,
in
Yeah.
detail.
and then it'll just be popping things up.
Yeah, so that'll be.
Okay.
Figuring out how to set up those tripods is always fun too, or those stands. I mean, they should be easy. Anyway, okay, any more on Art Walk? Okay, let's move along to news releases for the grant project.
Okay, can I pause just a second? Well, we will still be giving people the 2 handouts, right, for, the information about the house and the historic
If we have
restoration
enough,
preservation.
well, some of them come in such big groups.
We can have them available
Available,
and,
Yeah,
you
I was
know,
gonna say, it's still an opportunity
one
to
doesn't
give
get in
all
every
of that
hand,
to
but-
everybody.
yeah, and we'll put out the donations box and.
Right.
I'd be willing to shake the front door and help do that, and then ask people to sign up, if they would want to sign up to be on the email list, because we've got to.
That's how it doesn't work. It's just the volume of people is so much greater than.
Absolutely, and if we miss them, we'll try our best, but, who are we gonna have at the front door to do clicking?
Who would like to?
Betsy did that at the open house, do we want, or do we
I'm
want
sure she
one of
wouldn't
us?
mind doing anything that we need help with,
I was
so.
gonna say, that's kind of the easiest, at least, I guess, knowledge requiring task
And
or, assignment, so if she wouldn't mind doing that, that'd be really
I'm sure
helpful.
she
because
wouldn't.
it makes all the board members available to answer questions about that.
And one other difference from other years that we're doing is, now obviously for fire hazard, doors are unlocked. We don't, but we're not letting people in through the side door. They're gonna come in through the front door. And we're gonna do some signage there too that directs them enter through the front, because it's just too hard having them come in 2 doors like we've done in the past.
It's too confusing,
Very confusing.
and that's when we get problems with.
Yeah, food,
Food coming in.
because you're watching the front and they come in the side. And so, yeah, we're just, it'll be unlocked, so we
Dripping
can,
like
but we're
sticky
not gonna,
fingers.
they're gonna have to.
Yeah, ice cream cones.
Oh, yeah, I mean, well, how would you get that out of
It's
there?
lots of fun.
Okay, so yeah, I can't think of anything, anything else I forgot.
Oh, ropes, we're gonna make sure that those doors are roped off, right?
Right, and she's gonna have signage on them too.
Yeah.
We're gonna be a little more signage visible this year, because I think
Yeah.
you have to,
Yeah.
You mean
We'd also
upstairs, okay, yeah.
We're gonna have
upstairs.
signage
Because there's
upstairs.
always people that try and use those
Always.
stairs.
They do, so there's gonna be a sign upstairs, right, that says no entrance, and a sign down here that says no.
down here.
Yeah, but it still, so one of us will have to be up there
But yeah, we need a person up there.
because it doesn't matter, I don't know how many times we've had this happen, at least when I've been here, there's always somebody that
Well, we
feels
haven't had signage before.
acknowledged
Apply to
them.
them, yeah.
So intriguing.
They are.
Yeah, they're hazardous stairs to try to go up.
Yeah, they're a little tricky.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, they look cool, they're also.
They're very cool.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else with Art Walk, we can always jump back if it pops into your head, but let's move on to news releases. Who is covering news releases?
Well, remember that, the city has
Okay.
a group and that they do.
Okay,
that.
so it's well,
is there any
Well, I think, right,
progress or?
a lot of their energies are tied up with the bond,
Right.
with city council and the agreement to put a different, questions on the ballot in November.
Right.
Right.
So,
while
so while all this painting and everything is getting done, I think it'll probably be more towards the end of the piece for them to release.
Closer to
Is
the
it
actual
possible-
event.
Will it be possible for them to get to it in September or October?
I can look and see.
Because if not, then perhaps the Times Call could do a simple interview with Brittany like they did with Kathy before. And then that way an article can go in the paper about the activities that have happened and the restoration that has occurred.
I think every new house manager over the years has kind of got a newspaper article.
Yeah, which would be a
It's your
beautiful
introduction.
start to yours, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this is your introduction to house manager. You get to have a nice interview with Times Call and tell them all about all the wonderful things that have just happened.
Okay.
We're also doing pieces like that on UNC, NPR stuff where they do local things that are going on, and that would be another good time to try to get people.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Well, I'll connect with Sue Ellen and see what we can get done and yeah, add some of those other little pieces that we can.
Okay. Next on our old business is the fall tea. Do you want to talk about that?
Okay. So invitations were mailed on July 24th, and you all have yours, and we didn't put postage and mail yours because we didn't bring them. So we are expecting RSVPs by September 22nd, and I think what we need to probably talk about is food arrangements, food beverage arrangements, because I think we sort of tabled it last month, Brittany, because we were waiting for you to be in place so that we could kind of run things through you.
Okay.
So, I can tell you some things of what we've done in the past, but I think it probably is important to be open and flexible about what we should do here and now. So, what do you think?
Is it generally hosted by the board and the house manager in conjunction for all past and present? Okay, great. Well, I had heard that, Maureen, you're interested in doing something.
More than glad to kick in my culinary talents.
Okay.
I can do that.
So, I guess something we need to consider there then is how our food license works. So any food that's coming in from outside that's served down, is the event mostly down here? Is it the whole house? Okay.
It's down.
Any food that's coming in that's served down here according to our retail license, our food retail license, it needs to be, come from a certified kitchen. So do you have a catering license though?
I don't have a catering license, but I have all the rest of my food serve, save all of that, and I'm a certified chef, so I guess if I needed to get a license for that,
yeah, so there are like certified kitchens that people can rent time, I don't know.
And this is a certified kitchen.
Yeah,
So
or
I could
it could
come
be
and do
prepared
prep
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, yeah, depending on what you are thinking about, we could have you prep most of it ahead of time here.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah. And then anything else that we want to, if we want to add things, you know, in addition, they would be, so a certified kitchen is, you know, a restaurant or a grocery store or whatever, or caterer or anything. So if we want to add some from places like that and have Maureen do some or whatever we're thinking, so.
Okay.
How many people attend this fall tea?
We have 42 invitees. We should see if, it will depend on if they bring a guest. For example, Brittany, I think you can bring one. And everyone is encouraged on invitation to feel free to bring a guest. So if they want, it serves two purposes. It does allow them to bring someone who's special to them, but also gives that other person an opportunity to kind of observe and learn a little bit about the house, and it opens the opportunity for future volunteers, or future board members branching off that way.
Potentially maybe some people.
If that, but I doubt, I highly doubt that.
50 maybe? What do we expect?
If that even, I think, last
26.
year, I think it was fairly minimal. I'd
26, is
say
that
if
high?
we had 20 to 30, we're
Right.
really,
Okay.
do well.
you're doing well.
So do we want to plan for 30 people, 35?
I
mean, you don't want
as
to
we
not
get
have enough.
closer,
We call it the
yeah.
RSVPs.
Yeah.
and why-
Okay.
like next month, I can certainly bring a head count at that point, because by that time I will have reached out to everyone who I hadn't heard from yet via email, just checking in. So, and then I'll have a closer idea about head count.
Great.
So,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
That doesn't unnerve me in the slightest. So,
I would not have expected it to.
no, some people get really worked up over that, but,
Okay.
so,
So at what point do we want to talk about menu and offerings and is it more like finger sandwiches type? It's not a full meal.
It's not a full
no,
sit down.
snacks,
It's light.
Petite.
It's a light tea.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
meat savory.
Yeah, it's two to
Yes,
4 in the
exactly.
afternoon. It's a light.
Yeah.
Nibbles.
The one thing that, so this also actually opens up a whole thing, because are we gonna be looking at getting, additional caterers on our, bringing in
Preferred
additional preferred
list?
caterers?
We sure can.
Because
We
most
probably
people don't
should.
use Spice of Life, to be honest.
So they've kind of fallen out of a very preferred caterer. I think we generally tend to steer people towards Jules and Breeze Point right now. But yeah, it's certainly something that can be expanded upon.
Well, I'm wondering if we don't wanna reach out to the community and let them know that we're opening to possibly have additional caterers looked at to be used as preferred caterers.
Sure.
We saw
because-
information for an RFP, or I did, sorry, RFP where we did out to the community, and then people responded, and that's where we got one of our original list of preferred caterers, so I think
Okay,
that's
so
something.
do
we
that
can-
again.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's.
And I also think that we need to then remind, the clubs that this is the case, because I do know,
I thought you were
Yeah, don't mind, I think I was here.
that was not necessarily a rule that was enforced. People brought in whatever they wanted down here.
Just saying.
So maybe we'll think between now and next month's meeting about specifically ideas of what foods and things. Is that the goal?
Sure.
And then next meeting we can finalize, okay, we're gonna have this, and
Yeah.
we're gonna.
Is that
and
give enough time?
Yeah.
So if we get together with the committee again, I can bring up a list of certain items that I think are easy and compatible, and you guys can make some choices and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Sounds good, all right, we'll, the committee,
We'll do it.
between now and then, we'll
do
bring a proposal for the board.
Okay.
Alrighty, so the fall tea sounds like it's in good hands there. Okay, July open house has already taken place.
Right.
I have some numbers.
Okay, yeah, it was
From
a
that.
quiet one. but-
Yeah, but it was bigger than April.
It was.
April was 17 people. July open house was 33 people. So
Wow, jumping.
growing. And we did get $50 in cash donations, so that was great. 7 people signed up for the email list, and we sold a $40 artwork.
Yes.
So call it a success.
That is a success. That's great.
And the sale
Yeah.
went okay, you didn't have any trouble with the
Yeah,
the
it was-
funds,
it was
everything
fine.
went good?
Yeah.
Was that a
So-
credit card or cash sale?
It was credit card.
Okay, that's good to know.
Mhm.
'cause
Yeah.
that was-
Yeah,
No.
it was a very easy process, at least on my end. And then on the back end, I handed them the receipt and said, "This is from this," and then they said, "Okay."
That's good.
Yeah.
Something else went on.
Signed up on the email.
7. Question about that, what is happening with those signups, or is that?
It's being held, one of the items is the content for any e-bus communication was requested to be drafted by the whole advisory board.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
right now it's just accumulating.
so I have those, okay.
So would you like something drafted and brought to your next meeting, just so that it can be sent to all of the people on the list?
To say thank you for attending
Thank
the
you for
open house,
attending,
and
and here's
you're
what's
now
coming up.
signed up for this, and here's what's going on.
Here's what's gonna be okay.
Yeah, if you all want to do that, that's fine, or I'm happy to do that, either way.
You can do it, that'd be great.
Okay.
too.
That'd be great, really,
Okay.
and then I also let them know that they'd be, made aware of upcoming events at the house.
Yes.
That's basically,
That's basically it.
So yeah, we'll want to get something out before Art Walk then.
that's exactly.
Exactly.
So about our walk, this does lead to our walk, but it also has to do with open house events in general. I noticed that the open house, the July open house, was not in constant contact. So it wasn't in that weekly recreation
Blast.
email. So I thought we had planned for all of those to be, I knew that it wasn't going to be in the recreation brochure and printed, but I thought that we planned to have that in for at least the 2 weeks prior to the event in the constant contact email.
It got lost. I'm
Okay.
finding all the things that I dropped
So
this summer. There, that was one of them. So,
Well,
I
that's okay.
apologize.
you
So
had your
then-
daughter's marriage and you got wed. I can't
I
imagine.
got a new job.
You got a new
I
job.
hired a new person.
Things
so
fell
Okay,
through
how many
the
life
so-
changes can you have in one?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
You really have checked all the boxes, didn't
Yeah.
you? No.
So anyway, that was one of the things that did drop off. There are other ones on the wall of shame.
No, no, no.
There's no wallet.
But,
We can start one.
No.
Brittany is, Brittany and I I'll make sure that I show both Brittany and Kristen. Kristen's aware of how we schedule those for the future with our constant contact person. And a lot of these things that you have here, the amount of detail that can be included, Brittany knows all of that right now. Right from this meeting, because there's not room for a lot of stuff. So she can get that done and preload it so that it's just getting busier, it's easier.
So who's
So
the
we
constant
could
contact person?
One of my administrative, Rochelle and
Rochelle? Okay.
Okay.
So we,
Okay.
so we could look at, making sure that it's in constant contact for August 31st and September 7th. Because, Art Walk is, September 9th.
Perfect.
Kristen, do you have that on your plate so I can take
Yeah,
that?
I just told her.
I think that,
Haven't you known that Rochelle before?
I don't know if I know Michelle, but that's okay.
She lives in
That's
Margaret,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Colorado
Yeah,
Springs.
she lives in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
She's a full-time remote employee of ours.
So we'll make sure.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so anything else on the open house? Okay, let's go on to donations and contributions, and I think there's a team working on that too.
Yes.
And then the donations, the sheet that I provided you, just one that it gives us, and I have not inputted the money, the $50 cash donation yet at this time for, in this one sheet. So I guess I would bring our annual total up to $153.80.
103.80.
Yes.
And actually, I think there's, so 50 was from the last open house.
Might be a little bit more.
There was $21 in there before that. Don't know what it's from. I'm assuming, calling it the April open house. Okay. And then there's another $10 in there from some people that wanted to come see the house.
Well,
And
we
they
can-
donated $10, so I put it in there.
Yeah.
Get that entered. So
Yeah.
we can have it. That makes the 103.80.
Well, it'd be 53.80 plus, we had 21, 50 and 10. But we can get it updated. So then, yeah, on the online donations verbiage updated, Sue Ellen did that for us. So that now when folks go to make a donation online, they can make a monetary donation to the Callahan House Fund. Previously, it was kind of confusingly directing people to purchase a park bench. And really the funds were still going, it was still a monetary donation into the house fund, but it looked as though you had to select a park bench to make the donation. So that's been fixed. Thank you, Sue, for doing that.
Thank you.
So yeah, the sheet here is just kind of running you through what the page looks like when you go through it to make that donation.
And thank you for showing her that, because we were trying to explain.
Yes.
Words were getting
Yeah, so that is done, so that's great.
And I was looking at completely the wrong place. So
Sure.
I was confused. You guys were confused.
It just led down the rabbit hole from there, but
Yeah.
thank you,
Yeah.
it's fixed.
Yeah, so that is working now. So yeah, for the donations and gifts committee, we've been working on this policy for a long time. So the cover page here is just kind of talk about the process that we went through and what we're still expecting, because there's still some parts of the process that are upcoming. But basically our purpose was to create a donations and gifts policy and guidelines so that people could easier donate to the house, and also kind of to eventually draw in more donations, more community partnerships, and hopefully some organizations that might want to donate to us and things like that. So that is our plan, to put out those feelers and draw those things in moving forward. So yeah, we started with ideation, created the policy that you'll see on the next page. So the first step now is approval from the board. And then the policy and our process is going to go through final approval.
Well, and so backing up a little bit, thank you for all your work, because this is really good work.
Yes, it is.
Where it goes from here is that all this information will be then incorporated in a way that's in alignment with the city stuff, that the city policies, the city guidelines, of which we're not expecting or wanting you guys to be experts in, because that doesn't make any sense. Because you've got people who already have that.
But we did use the city's policy as
That was,
a
because
guide.
that was kind of the structure we worked from to
Right.
begin with, so it was the foundation that we built on.
Right, so the final piece is a piece that will get clarified with city staff in collaboration with the different departments that need to be involved with the clarity that we need, and then there'll be the final policy that'll be ready to go in place.
Okay. Which will then get viewed again by the board, but basically once it goes through the city's process, that's kind of what we have to work with. But yeah, but I think this is gonna be a really positive thing to help
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
draw
It's
all
very
that stuff in
positive,
and make it easy for people to donate and
We've worked hard on it.
understand that we're here to be donated to, and
And the
we do
reason
work
for
very
the donations,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
happens is
True.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
yeah, what
Yeah.
that money is for.
Yeah.
So rather than just, donating to anything else in the city, this is very specific to this historic property.
So there's still some outstanding to-dos, as you can see, and a lot of them have to do with the website, and I did go through some kind of initial website training last week, I think that was. And in going through that, I did learn, so some of the forms that we have here, after the policy, and I don't mean to skip ahead, but the donation agreement and the request to donate, we're probably gonna actually have to turn those into like an online fillable form, so it's not gonna be this form exactly, but it'll be the same information where people can input that information, and then it comes through via email, says that someone has requested to donate.
So it's basically taking the content that you guys have worked so hard with and putting it in a form that fits the requirements of the city for ADA, it fits our requirement for legal, it fits our requirement for consistency. So the final form will be heavily flavored by what you've contributed. But it may not look exactly like this.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
for the
concept
forms.
is
Yeah.
So basically, if it's over $500, they have to fill out these forms.
No,
That's all gonna go back to get in alignment with other things with the city.
Yeah.
So,
so we emulated ours also after what the museum has done with some help from Eric Mason, which was very much appreciated. And so there's no real like limit on what people can donate, but there are different, well, up to $10,000, and that is subject to change, but right now the city, any donation of $10,000 or more needs to go through city council to be approved and accepted. But anything under that amount is generally approved, although that amount is subject to change. But so potentially someone could go in and donate, $9,999.
Right.
Great, that'd be
Yeah.
good.
We're hopeful. Go for it.
Yeah, but over $500 is a different
So you don't have to
knowledge
fill
of
out
the process.
Yes,
This is
these
if they
are
want
only for
recognition.
in-kind. These are only
Only
for
for in-kind.
regarding in-kind. If someone was going to offer a tea set, that's
Okay,
in-kind
yeah.
donation. That's
Yeah, so anybody can donate
That's
monetary
what those-
donation. We're not gonna put anybody through a process to make a monetary donation or, any of that. But if someone wants to donate, like I said, a tea set, an item, or even supplies or something like that, a physical item, they would go through the request to donate, because we don't wanna just become like a drop off for people's
Yeah.
random
Drop
stuff.
off.
We're not gonna be able to take everything.
So there is a process involving
So,
more
so
that we go
it was
through.
my understanding when we were doing this that they were going to request to donate and then they would receive this agreement
If they're approved, yes.
if they're approved.
Exactly right.
Okay, is that gonna be similar once it's approved through the city?
I guess we'll have to see, but I imagine because the donation agreement form wouldn't be available online, that would probably be, I guess we'll have to see. But I think the idea is that the request to donate form is available freely on the website for anybody that wants to reach out, hey, I have an item.
Which is what we
And that would be
wanted
the
in the first
fillable form,
place.
exactly.
Okay.
So that's the piece that's still outlying, aside from it going through the city's process, is getting these things on the website so that they're easily accessible to everyone who wants to donate.
Yeah.
Either monetary funds or items.
Okay, and I've shared this with the committee more times than I can count, but this has been on my wish list, so thank you all again for this. This is just.
So does anyone have questions about any specifics? Did everyone get a chance to read through the policy itself? Okay, any questions about specifics or need for clarification of any? Does it look good to everyone? Does everyone have questions about any of it?
So I think, at this point, if there are no questions about it, then I'm gonna move that we approve this donation policy and guidelines and the content of the forms to be submitted to the city for legal review of what they need to do for their process.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that was a unanimous approval. I didn't say all in name, but I didn't read. Okay, so that one was very good. A lot of work done there, so that was very well done.
It was fun to work on that.
The next, can I move on, or is there any other discussion on it? No? Okay. Updated video discussion. And
That's for me. So we got an opportunity to see a presentation by Sparrow Pod Media, and it was very awesome. We discussed it with our purchasing department, and we have to open it up for the city
That was my
to
question.
a larger
Other vendors.
audience. Yes. So we've got two ways of moving forward. The dollar value gives us some flexibility because it doesn't hit a certain threshold that requires a very formal, laborious process. But we do need to have a total of at least 4 bids. For
really?
some different, yeah. So to continue with this process, it'll be Brittany and Kristen trying to identify 4 different groups in the northern Colorado or Colorado area who do similar type of work, you know, and solicit those pieces.
I was gonna say, I think one thing, this came up quickly, and we did see a wonderful presentation last night.
Yes.
But I think we need to put together parameters that we want included in this. That way, if we have parameters, then each group would be equally, you know, they know what to present. Because otherwise, they're gonna be all on board, and it would be very hard to make any decisions.
Easier to evaluate.
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
So,
Parameters are running time, wanting to be available for
PBS.
yes.
I also think one of the parameters we do need to put in place is that it's gonna work and hook up with our QR codes. That is an addition that I threw at them at the last meeting that they weren't even aware of that we wanted. So that's gonna put in another thing, but I think crucially for what we want overall in the house, I think that's something that.
Can you explain that a little?
Okay, so when you have a outdoor QR code, not just a sheet of paper, but think of when you go to any museums or anything else, they have a permanent QR code that's right there, a plastic or something.
laminated or whatever.
Not just a sheet that's laminated, but a specific
Solid material.
Solid material, thank you. And they click on it and then they can get video information or verbal information about that specific, the fountain or the statues or we need to make a decision where we would like, or if we had liked one of those things. That was something that I thought in my head, that's something that would help us for if we're not here in the house and somebody's walking through the house and doing this, they can do their own.
Yeah, and we've discussed that at the meetings, but you wanna make them more furniture-like, you know, I mean, they're nice, they're not furniture, but not just paper.
More permanent.
A solid.
Yes, and something that we could then change at any point, because once that's there, but this is something that, again, I just threw out at the presentation. They weren't even aware that I'm like, what about this? And so that should be put in as part of what we would require.
Wait a minute, we want the company to create the
So
cover.
as long as something is residing on the internet, so say a YouTube channel, the city has a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
If this is uploaded into the YouTube channel, it's a QR code just references a URL.
Yes.
And that can be created. What we want as a deliverable from the agency is a web-sized version of the documentary.
Thank you.
So that
She
as
knows
long
what
as
she's
as long as we
Okay, I
have
was
that
getting confused,
piece.
cause I was thinking, are they supposed to put QR codes all over the house?
No, so
Okay.
the QR code, the links of address pointing to where we put it online, that will be on our end, not
Okay.
not the
Not
end,
the company.
not the company. But for example, the quality and the size of the file for a documentary that might look really good on IMAX Theater is much, much, much larger than the version that you're looking on an iPhone.
Right.
You know, so it's a difference in size.
Okay.
Thank
So we
Thank
just
you
would
for
want it in
articulating
different
that.
sizes, which is if they're in that business,
They
So-
get that.
they are.
So, okay, so they would all have this, we
We can specify that we want it in different sizes.
okay, and they understand that.
Yes.
Okay,
As
that's.
long as if it's in the RFP, that's
Yeah.
thank you, and I apologize, I'm not articulating
No,
that
you're
as well as
good.
No.
Mike, but basically in my head, I think this would be bringing us up to a higher.
So, yeah, I believe, but so we do need to, and I don't know who's the we there, but we have to have the parameters pretty accurately described so that everybody gets a fair shot.
Yeah, and that may realistically with the onboarding that Brittany's doing, and she's doing a phenomenal job, and Kristen's doing a great job getting up to speed with this piece. You're probably looking, if you guys wanted to look at a draft, you're probably looking at an October meeting to maybe do more discussion. That will get you past some big events that you guys are involved with.
Right.
And also give Brittany time to get acclimated to the city with some other different committee-related activities that she needs to go through.
Okay.
So that my recommendation would be to table that until October.
And actually, that's in our favor, because if, we won't be ready to start doing any filming probably till next spring, and the gardens need a little recovery time. They had a rough summer. So,
Yeah.
that'll give the guys, because right now I don't think I'd want anybody out there photographing close up. There's a lot of insect damage and things, those darn Japanese beetles.
I got to see some today.
Oh,
I stopped and talked to the gardener. He said, oh, there's one right there.
They're
That's
insidious.
what he said. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable
Yeah.
how bad they are.
We can all go out with a jar of water and
Yeah.
start knocking them.
I'm not
A
gonna
good hour the other day, just not gonna.
Yeah.
Did you?
I did that at home too. Yeah, I can.
Well, it was by Anne's recommendation and it worked. I mean,
You can get thousands of them.
Well,
Wow.
It's
Just don't. Whatever you do, don't hang those Japanese beetle bags because that actually
Right.
attracts them.
yeah, there's.
There's actually mixed feelings on that. It does, but we're totally infested and we didn't have the bags. And so
Yeah.
that's a contention.
Which of your neighbors are hanging those bags?
well,
It's an
you
attraction.
also were saying something about putting something on the lawn that was helping.
Yeah, it's called a
You told us about this.
milky something.
I'm sorry.
It's a granule that you put on the lawn.
Yeah.
You know what? Can I email it
Please.
to you all, just so you all know for your own home? But maybe here for the garden too. but it is this specific granule that you put on in the spring in the lawn and in the fall. And it stops the larva from being able to continue to live and grow. And then that helps with the grass too, because they are dangerous on two parts of their life cycle as larvae. They bury into the lawn and deep enough in the winter to be protected and come back up in the spring, and then they will eat the roots of the grass.
This is actually the critical time of year.
Yeah. Well, Parks came out and put
They put
something on
cigarettes
that was be safe, and it was for the larvae and the adults.
They've done that.
I don't know what it was, but.
And so
But I was like,
it is something you want to do because it'll kill them in the grass in the lawn so that they won't eat the roots and
Okay.
they can't then grow out of and become an adult out of the lawn and then come and eat your plants in the garden.
Well, yeah, if you want to email that to us, I can.
Yeah, I will send emails to everyone, so you have it, so
Okay.
Brittany, you have it for here, and then everyone has it for their lawn, because I
Great.
think the more we all do this, the better we're all gonna be. I feel bad for our western slope, it's gonna affect our fresh produce, the peaches and cherries in the western slope.
And they went after my grapevines. That's all. And here they like the Virginia creeper.
yeah.
And the roses.
Yeah, and the roses. So.
I didn't realize how bad they were until we had a friend that came in and I was touring through the garden. And my husband turned around and they were all over his back.
Oh my goodness.
Did he bump into something? Did he like
Yeah,
bump
he
into
was
something?
just walking and he walked through.
Because usually-
and they,
Yep,
they like
They like anything that's looking.
oh, I'm like, wait, holy moly.
So anyway, so it'll be good though that we have time to get the gardens
Yeah.
perked up.
That will be good.
Okay, so any more on the video that you want to talk about?
So basically, we're gonna table it until October, and then it was, Sue Ellen has called me and talked to me about it, and I'm, I don't want any conflict of interest, so basically, we would then set up a committee to review.
No, so the board's involvement will be the establishment of the criteria of what you would like to have.
And that's it.
And making sure that Brittany has the concept of what you guys are really looking for.
Okay.
And then at that time, it would
It
move
just
into
heads on to
a
the city.
city process.
I think that is something probably the entire board wants to participate in, so we can set aside time at each meeting.
Yes.
The
For
big
the
thing is,
criteria, yes.
Yeah, the criteria, I think everybody wants.
at one point, it was discussed that we would view the proposals, and I definitely would step off it, as a conflict of interest, but, so that, it's changed from when we spoke last. Okay, cool.
Just a little bit, but
All right.
I think if you are able to identify and feel really comfortable with your criteria of what you would like to see,
Then you guys take over.
then let it go through the process, and then that just keeps it simple.
And then as far as selection goes, then yes, city does that, but once selected, then board can be collaborating with as that company needs
Yeah,
for
I think so.
information and.
I think
okay,
so.
all right.
Okay,
Good.
Okay, cool. Sounds good to me. Anything else? Okay, let's move on to digitized scrapbook. Who would like to? That's you.
That's me, Lady Morgan, which is wonderful though, because Cindy and Maureen and I met, and Cindy has a couple of examples. She took just some pictures of a couple of pages from the scrapbook. Yeah, if you want to pull that open and show it, because we're trying to think of the ways that we can digitize the scrapbook and it not cost us much. So potentially taking the photos ourselves might be one thing. But in that process, we discussed the need for some equipment. Such as, we can stand over something and hold our iPhone or even a nice 35mm, but you're gonna be moving. So what would be really helpful to know is what resources within the city we could utilize as far as equipment. Is there a scanner that we could use that we could scan one page at a time? Or is there a stand, a photo
Like a
stand,
tripod or something that holds it.
or something that's not a tripod, but more like it's a square because it's gonna need to sit up and over and have it, if it's lit or something, so that all we do is just slide the page underneath the setup and just click and then photos start. So I mean, I think, and I would like to hope that our city has lots of beautiful resources like that with all of the things that the city does that are in print and electronic and everything. So we need to know if there's anything that we can be able to use for we put in the man hours, but can we use some equipment? Can we go somewhere in the city to use the equipment to do this?
I mean, I don't know.
The next question that we were asking ourselves is if we're doing all this, we wanna make sure that we're using compatible software, that the city uses or city has a license to make sure that when we do have this, we can download it to that. And one of the big things when we're looking at, it has to have the ability that you can scan it, like what currently we're using PowerPoint, but you should be able to pause on it and then scroll in, zoom in to see what if you want something more in detail, because some of the articles are really faded.
Sure.
And
Get close to
and I hate to
it.
say it, there's people like me that are blind as a bat and can't see unless I do have that ability.
It's the,
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi,
I tried to say that years ago, Bob and I had a little tripod, and he put his camera up there, and we did all of our family photos from the time the kids were little.
Right, do you
Yeah.
still have that? That's the question.
Well, you know, I'm on YouTube also after our
But it
meetings.
can be done.
And I looked at some videos on how people do that.
Uh-huh.
And there's actually some scanning type machines that, so this one lady really did a bunch of videos on it, and they're running the $300 to $500 range.
I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
if I
not
ever
cheap, right?
purchase anything.
But you know,
But, I mean,
it might be worth the $500.
It might, I suppose.
I'll turn around and sell it again.
Yeah, you can always get rid of it.
Or yeah,
I
it'd be
was-
something that would continue to be
Yeah,
used.
we could keep
Yes.
it.
Well, there's a
You
good
know,
point.
there's
I was
continued
more
service.
about, and I was also gonna ask my daughter, because she has access to.
Trying to tell you.
If they have
What
equipment that they could rent.
Yeah, they can rent it to us.
Online.
Some in ads.
Yeah,
They're cats.
Access the
To ask, and then we'll go.
Because it might be higher tech than what we would buy for like $500, they might have a $10,000 on it.
Or they would
Yeah.
have some company to go to rent.
Yeah.
I would rather rent the
Or-
time than
or
rent the
if they
machine,
would-
rather than, I don't wanna bring an expensive machine here.
So the idea is that if we can find the equipment, we do it ourselves,
Yes.
or this is the quote from someone to do it professionally.
Yeah.
Okay.
and you know, just to avoid conflict of interest, if you would like to, if the decision is made that we're ready to proceed forward to encumber funds to digitize the scrapbooks at this time, it is helpful for a city staff member to solicit those contacts
That's a good point.
so that we are not
Yes.
cherry picking whose business is getting our business.
And plus you have more
That sounds
context.
great.
So,
So first, check within the city. We've gotta have some equipment, right? I mean, the city's gotta have some
Well,
equipment.
and
We have no conflict.
if we were to
That's
just
great.
be loaned something for free, there's one thing, but
Right.
if there's a specific company that is used as a source, you know, we can at least say, this is a source that we know of, can we then hand it back?
And is this your priority over, there's a lot of things bubbling here,
Right.
which you guys know, we are onboarding new staff, we are getting things going.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want this and have other things fall down? What is the priority that you want addressed?
We could,
Because they can't, there's no way to do all of them at one time.
This
There's
is kind of
this-
lower on the priority list, I think.
And it's an idea of keeping it up as connections are being made. That because there's opportunities within the city where the city is mindful about having staff connect with people from other departments and other places. And to allow those things for you know, that's a need. And so when she's connecting with people at planning or connecting with people at these different areas, new people at the museum and stuff like that, then she'll get an awareness, you know, able to connect with those things. So it's going in that direction.
I hear what you're saying, Simone, but we're also looking at doing this as a board project in the sense that we're putting the time in and we're putting the energy into this. We're not asking city staff to put additional time or energy into it. I mean, we're asking specific questions like,
Can we use the equipment?
can we use it? Is there equipment? Can we
Right
use
now,
it?
there's not equipment beyond your standard scanning, Xerox machine. So that's
that
what
answers
we
that
have.
question.
So the
So
building
the-
department, or, they don't have.
I've gotta find out who to contact, I've gotta find out, it's a process that takes time, and at the moment,
You don't have a lot of that.
I wasn't even, there's this piece, I'm just saying there's it's not your high priority, and it's also not a high priority at the moment with the other things that have already gone through at the board. So I hear you, and I hear the request to have a more exhaustive search with the city to see if they have equipment existing that's capable of 12 by 12 scanning.
So we can start there.
We get started there.
Okay.
I know
Yeah,
that,
I mean, at least
with
with
marketing, it's an iPhone. They made a video for me for summer camp,
On an iPhone.
so,
Simple.
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah, so back to your big frame and
No.
just put your picture up there, yeah. Could be work.
So, okay, that answers, in a lot of ways, that answers my question, so that takes up. The one thing I do ask then is if we are putting in a format, what is a format that is a license under the city? So when we put it on the website and somebody wants to access the scrapbooks, we need to know which program they're using, that we're covering the same licensing, that we're not overstepping in that sense. So what would
They need to be a JPEG or a PDF. So just your standard image file or a PDF. And Brittany's going to a number of classes this month about ADA PDFs, ADA Word, different things.
Okay, that's what, cool.
Yep.
So we can tie in and we can save it.
Yep.
Under that point.
Yep.
All right, cool.
But I can start, trying to figure out who to talk to about what if any equipment is available, and we can go from there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So on the scrapbooks now, are they all at your house now? Okay,
Yeah.
so once we,
They need to come back to the Callahan House at this time, because then that will give Brittany access. They need to be here, and Brittany has access to them. She knows the sizes. She can move forward on the project. So the ones that aren't actively being worked on right now need to come back to the Callahan House.
That's where they are.
That's where they belong. Yeah.
We can connect about that, I can help you.
So we
Yes.
can
Bring
use, like, the big point that we're trying to do is keep consistency in lighting and everything else. And so the point that we're hoping is that once we get it up to where they're supposed to be, we've got a system going, we'd like to just do it fluently and just take the pictures and just move
Yeah,
it along.
I think if we find that there's equipment, we'll either have to use it wherever it lives, or if it can come here, we can do it here. I think those would probably be the two options, I imagine.
I just need to be
If it's-
responsible for really expensive equipment.
Yeah,
being moved
probably
around.
it would be using it where it is. I
Yeah.
would
I'll look for
imagine
the
would be
tripod
most
that I'm
likely
pulling out.
scenario.
But,
Yeah, you can
If
start
wouldn't
digging
mind,
into
we'll
those
Because
potential options, and then
we can go from there.
so yeah, there's a lot of, right, tall sticks in the fire right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else on Digitize? Did you wanna?
Oh, yeah, so you had something to show
Oh,
us.
it's just 2 pages, and this just happens to be in PowerPoint, but just to show you what it looks like if it is a phone snapshot. This one's a little tough because the articles are kind of hard to read to begin with and
But you can
faded.
stretch them, right?
Well, and this is, I think this is 300 DPI, they could be 600 DPI. However, if it's gonna be something online, I'm sure you don't want it to be a really big file because,
Right.
it'll take forever
To load.
download or.
So that was the other question.
So,
We should talk.
but this is probably not the best example unless you feel that there are a lot of other articles that are kind of faded like that.
They are like that. That's
Oh,
exactly why we chose that page to work on, to see if, okay, how.
I mean, in that case, a scan might be better than a photo because it's
From
so.
this
Yeah.
distance, I can't, I mean, it looks to me like if I were closer, I could read it. I'm just a mile away.
Question of
Yeah.
if going through the pages kind of like online, if you could take a pause on any one page and then scroll in.
Yeah,
and
stretch it out a little.
Well, ideally would be to have the text available outside of this document, so that someone could download or read the.
Yeah, there's something there too, because with ADA compliance, all
You can't
images
require
need
the
to have
images.
alternative text.
I was just
So,
thinking,
which is, I think,
And if they're
is
viewing it on their
doable.
phone instead of, on their computer, it has to be components that can be rearranged, right?
That's part of our website, yeah.
I was wondering if we could talk to somebody like with the Times Call or any of those papers that are now online. Like, we canceled our paper subscription and we just get ours online. And it's exactly the same. I mean, you've got the same, it looks just like you're reading a newspaper, you know? I wonder if
Click
we
on
could-
it and it gets big.
Yeah, you can make it, stretch it or click on it and make it bigger. I love it. But I'm just wondering if we could maybe talk to them about their technology or how did they, because it's really improved. Yeah, because a couple of years ago I hated the online stuff. You could, but now it's great. And I just wondered.
So it has to do with the software. So I don't know if the city does anything like that.
So digitizing the scrapbooks is the picture portion of it. If you want people to be able to read what these say, that to me would be a great opportunity if the board was interested to go through the scrapbook and type out each article so that it's available in ADA format so that people can have access to what these things
And
are.
maybe that's what we need to do.
And that
If that's what we're gonna put us where we should be.
I don't know about
that
That's
is
why
that is
From
a
a huge
That's
critic.
why a higher resolution file is just going to be more important than.
we cannot
retyping
put it on,
is-
but it has to
Then
be.
it can't be.
It has to be done now, it has to
Because
be,
it's got
But
to
I
be
think
regardless, right?
Yeah, but I think
That's
it
what
could
they're
be
saying.
summarized. I think I'll learn more at the next training, but I think based on what Ian was saying, that it might, like the art, you could say this image is of this page. These are name cards.
You
This
have a
is an
question for
article
Ian.
summarizing this thing.
awesome.
Could be. It could need to be typed out.
Yeah.
Not sure, but it could be.
Should
The
be.
summary might suffice.
Okay. So
So
there's
it's
no
up
way
to
to
you
just
to find
zoom in on that picture? Like I said, like I do
Well,
it.
she's in a PowerPoint, so right now we
Yeah.
can't know.
But, when I had it in Photoshop, to begin with,
You can zoom
I
in.
can, make it larger, but it wasn't a great improvement because it's so scant,
Got too grainy then.
the letters to begin with,
Right.
so.
And I look at this as a long-term project. This isn't gonna happen over a day or a weekend. And if we do have
Start by
to
seeing
make,
what's available.
and if we have to meet the requirements, exactly what you're saying, that's what we need to be aware of. So it might be a project where one of us takes it on and then off.
Well, let her find out.
Yeah, let's find out.
Yeah,
I
let's
mean,
find out.
not- if we can get it so that people can zoom in to read it and that so that it's ADA accessible with
Yeah.
the summary, then that's great.
That would be the best.
We'll find out.
Okay, to be determined.
To be. Okay.
Just saving it for, the purposes of the history. That
Yeah, I
stays
like
on
the idea for them to be available for everyone.
Yeah.
And we'll just have to figure out the best way we can do it.
Okay, thank you. New business.
Does that, I guess, fall in with this antique, so the.
Yeah, items from staff. That were around.
Yes.
Before this over, actually, I have one other little bit. So I got a call from, her name is Edie, and she is with PEO. All PEO of Longmont is celebrating their Founders Day on January 20th. So she called to see if we might be interested in I figured one of the board, but wanted to put it out and see if anybody was interested, is going to their Founders Day gathering and doing a 30-minute presentation on the history of the Callahan House. So I thought that was a really cool opportunity. Obviously, we're already have ties with PEO.
So there's a program.
They're looking for a program. So there's 200 women attending. Their program starts at 10, and there'll be a 30-minute presentation at some point during their program. She wasn't sure exactly at the time, but we do need to have a decision to them by the beginning of October. And I believe they're also kind of searching out for other opportunities as well. They're not necessarily just waiting for us to say yes or no.
What's the January date again?
January 20th. So I thought that someone from the board might be interested.
Maureen,
to just
volunteer.
And I also, it probably doesn't have to be one person if people want to collaborate.
Why don't we collaborate?
I'm happy to, but I think it
I'm sure that if multiple people are interested, you could collaborate. I'm sure it doesn't have to be.
Absolutely.
one person.
The more the merrier.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Participate should be included.
Yeah, if you want to form a
So
committee
yeah, I should open it up to the
to
board.
do it, yeah. So, but I thought that somebody else might be interested.
Is this the one where they actually, they're acting the parts, or is it
No.
just?
On
it
occasion,
would just-
we've done that,
Okay.
skits and things, but they're just different programs from all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't want to wear a hat.
So-
No, you don't have to dress up in period.
No, Anne really doesn't want
Actually,
to.
good.
You can if you want. Yeah.
Get Ann dressed up.
So yeah, I figured
Right.
some members
Right,
of the
you
board
like
might be
to dress
interested.
That's nice.
Bless you.
It's here in Longmont.
It's here in Longmont.
It's at the United
Yeah, it's the
Methodist Church.
all of Longmont Founders Day
Journey of the
celebration.
How exciting, that's very exciting.
And it's
So
breakfast.
shall I follow up and say yes, we're interested?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
And
Yes,
then-
there's quite a bit of interest. it sounds
Okay.
like.
And yeah, that's not till January, so I can let you know if that is still available and open. She did also mention that they would pay a fee for us to do that. I don't know if we want to charge them a fee or not, but she did ask what we would
That
charge.
would be a nice
Except
donation.
I was just
I
gonna say,
would
if
accept
they
donation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The house.
If they want to make a donation to the house,
Yes,
that would be great.
That might be a nice
appropriate.
donation.
So,
That's what's typical.
and we could leave it open to whatever they want to donate, or we could give a suggested donation, or I'll leave that open for discussion, thought maybe for the next
Well,
meeting.
we were willing to do it for free here for 2 minutes ago. so-
I like.
I figured you
Right, but just don't tell anybody.
Yeah, a donation for the
Good
house, we
donation.
would love it.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, so I'll just follow up with her and say, yes, we're interested, I'll get more information, and then we can reconvene on that, so if we wanna add that to talk about it the next.
Whole business for next meeting.
Yeah. Cool, okay, I figured that would be fun. Okay, and then, I'm
Do
sorry.
we have to sign up for the training?
No, the non-binary training, no, you can just show up.
Okay.
So, yeah, yes, that was the other
If
thing.
we don't have to, again, I'll be out of
That's okay, I saw, yeah, it's certainly not required, but it is
It's
open to
available.
board members if you'd like
Some
to join.
education.
No pressure, but if you'd like to go, you can just go. And Kristen and I will both be there, and whoever wants to can join.
It's a good training.
Yeah.
Sounds good, unfortunately I'll be out of town.
That's okay. Yeah, so anything else about the Founders Day, or? Cool. So yeah, the other item here is kind of an interesting one. I don't know if we've had anything like this come up before, but basically someone, a Longmont citizen contacted me and said, I have this antique circa 1930s sofa that looks to be in very immaculate condition. And are we interested? She does prefer to sell it for $350. She also contacted Boulderado and Homer Home. But is open to donating it if no one is interested in purchasing it. And so this is really, maybe we're interested in it, maybe we're not. And we'd have to obviously, I would have to decide about if we have the funds for that, or if we want to use funds for that, but it's also just kind of a practice and this isn't, it could be a donation or it might not be a donation, but with the new donations policy that is still being worked on, it's kind of a practice in thinking about when these things come up, how we want to decide if they are worthwhile to us or not, and if we want to use funds for certain things or not. So yeah, that's kind of the idea, and I know that there's some not everybody likes the piano here in the music room. You know, that's the other thing. Do we have room in the house? Do we have
I was
a
just
need
gonna
for
ask you the
this?
dimensions on this.
Do we? Yeah, I don't know that
We
actually.
should on that
but- so I just wanted to share that this opportunity came up and kind of get a feeling for what thoughts are on acquiring things for the house moving forward. Not necessarily, you know, if this is just okay, this is cool, but we move on, or just to kind of get an idea of how we feel about acquiring new items for the house. Do we want to kind of fill things in and feel more of that sort of Victorian Queen Anne aesthetic, more talking points for people coming through the house, more bits of history of interest for educational purposes. So I just thought that, you know, this kind of brought up all of those things, and I wanted to hear from you all about how you feel about that.
Just a question about that. When you have weddings and the weather's bad and it has to be inside, are you ever lacking seating? I'm just wondering if this is helpful in that regard, or if there's, you know, even a
Yeah,
need for that.
it's a good question. I don't know for sure. I've only seen one wedding so far. But and the other, that is something to consider too. You know, do we have space for it? Is it going to be in the way when we need to set
Well,
up
that
a
was
club?
exactly.
We have
or
the
for
dimensions.
weddings?
That's my biggest question.
Yeah.
Big chunk of furniture.
Yeah.
Right.
With weddings, they either rent the inside and the outside, or just the inside, or
Yeah.
just the outside.
Typically, if it's summer season and they're renting outside,
They don't.
they kind of have to know that there's not a plan B for weather because there's too many people.
Right. Yeah, we can't let that many in
So-
the house.
So anyway, I just kind of wanted to, you know, whether we are very interested in this couch or not, just kind of see about moving forward if we're interested in acquiring new items for the house.
Yeah. We would have to talk about more, because you have a couple ideas here.
Yeah, where could it go?
Yes.
And maybe the auto house is a good,
Yeah.
kind of want to revamp that space a little.
I was gonna say, I think that would probably be the only place I would consider
Yeah.
putting this, and that would be replacing the couch that's out there already, but I don't know that we would want to do that. So-
Yeah.
Just putting funds
Because
on
it
it.
is,
Yeah.
Right,
Just-
yeah,
Because I think the one that's out there is not really, it's not historic, but
no,
it looks nice.
it goes with
And
it.
it serves its
Yeah.
purpose. And so do we need to replace it? No. Do we want to with this, something that's more historic? Maybe. But that would be the only thing I would
Yeah.
say. That might be a good fit for that.
This is a very large item. I don't
It
think a lot of large items will be coming up for us to
No.
talk about.
Could
but-
you ask her for the dimensions?
Yeah, I can ask the dimensions. And the other thing I can do is say, you know, it's interesting, if you do want to donate it, maybe let us know,
Yeah.
but at this time, we're not interested in purchasing it, or,
Yeah. I
you
don't
know,
see
but I
things
just
with
kind of wanted
funds.
to,
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
right, the funds, yeah. Because it's certainly not a need,
Right,
but it's a
that's
potential opportunity. But yeah,
It's lovely.
Yeah, it is. I'm looking
yeah,
at it.
I love the color too for the
Yeah,
house.
the color's
Yeah.
cool.
It's
It's
very well
nice.
done.
It's very well.
So yeah, I could say if you do decide to donate it, let us know, and you know, she may have already sold it by this time.
Yeah,
But
that'll be
just
good.
wanted to get, and what are our thoughts about moving forward acquiring items for the house?
Yeah.
You know, is that something that we're interested in? Kind of goes along with the in-kind donations, and it'll be obviously case-by-case basis.
Exactly.
Right, and whether the item, and whether we need or want it, or if we're
Yeah.
needing to replace something.
Yeah.
that
Fits
happens
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
looking for
Replace
something.
it.
Right.
We're not, yeah, we're not
Not
looking,
actively
but,
soliciting.
Yeah,
so it'll depend on the item, you're right.
That brings up another point here that I think I'll just bring it up now. Informally, we kind of talked about the piano there and like, what am I gonna do with that thing? But Cindy found a rather nice looking older piano.
oh yeah.
And
Beautiful.
Find it on here.
again, there's been some funds involved in this, and it's free, but you have to move it.
Yeah, I'm trying to, I mean, not that I'm moving forward on anything, but I'm just trying to find out, get bids from moving companies
Yes.
on moving a piano and how
It's
much
just
it
more
would
period
cost.
looking than the one there. Does anybody know the story on this piano? Why we have it now?
It was just
Right,
donated to the
it
house.
was just donated, it is not.
So there's no reason we
It has
have to
no-
keep it.
it has
Somebody's
no
getting
tie
rid
to
of the
the
piano.
house.
Exactly.
The upstairs one does, but this one does not.
So this would
is
not-
disposable.
Right, it was just donated,
And the upstairs one is more
period time.
period, and it's also more,
It's calendar, it's
It's
actually-
useful.
it
And
is.
it
is
is, you can have a pianist really play on it.
Good
Now, the
actually.
nice thing about this piano, if we did get rid of it, is it's nice to put things on. It's like a shelf. we're using it as a shelf more than anything, pictures and.
Yeah.
So if we did get rid of it, it'd be nice to put some kind of a shelf unit there.
Yeah. Does the TV need to be there all the time?
No, the only reason it was there, I think, was for storage. It typically then gets moved upstairs into the meeting room for open houses to run that video.
Which we'll need to do anyway,
And so,
and then maybe we'll
I think she
find a place for it in the closet.
previously had it on.
In the closet.
It's like the only
In the closet, in our lovely
Previously
closet.
had it on and running something there,
for
she-
memorial
when she was
TV.
doing
She did have it up quite a bit.
other activity, but
Oh, okay.
not, it really doesn't have to. Just
Okay, here's a picture
I'm
of
sure
the,
it's hard to,
I can see it. If you turn there, oh, but perfect right there. Which is a little more, now does it say if it works?
oh yeah, it says it's
Yeah,
been
recently
tuned up and
tuned it
it's,
and all
been like, whatever they call it when it's
The grain of the wood is beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
no,
it's
except
gorgeous.
the-
The
It says,
benches.
benches not included.
Benches.
In-
Oh, good.
Oh, good, 'cause
Okay,
Because the benches
it was
are not
professionally, in 2020, it was professionally standard tuned and clean. There was a small permanent marker spot on one of the keys she could not get off. Worked great for being 100 years old, must pick up and haul away. We are moving to San Diego and cannot take it with us. So they're kind of, a
Desperate
neat
to get
time.
rid of it, Yeah.
Um,
But it is pretty much, when I looked at the picture, well, that's much nicer than what we have.
yeah, let's see.
Are the dimensions on it? I didn't look
Oh,
that specific.
They're probably
Good
pretty
point.
similar.
But I didn't look
Yeah.
at it to see if there were dimensions included.
yeah, I could ask her.
If we're potentially interested, Cindy, would that be okay if Cindy looks at some bids for moving companies?
That would
or-
probably be more staff related.
Okay,
And
can
I,
do that.
and I think
And
it's
then we
around-
also have to
it's not
decide
inexpensive
upon city
to
staff
put piano.
And also, we have to get
if we
rid
have
of
the funds or if we want to use the funds.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have to
So,
find out. That's a
take,
good point.
take this one away and put that one in, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, well, I think you pay to get rid of them, don't you? Or you go to free dump day, oh, we're the city, we can dump.
Well, I'm sure someone would hopefully be interested in it
No
rather
one
than ending up in a dump.
Pianos
but-
and zucchini have a lot in common. Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody wants
Nobody wants them.
We know how to, 2 or 4 times a year they have a free dump day, it has to be a pickup load, well, that's about a pickup load.
Well, maybe we could find somebody that wants to come pick it
So
up.
it
but-
kind of goes back to that concept of, is it a priority?
Yeah.
Is it a budgetary priority? Is it a priority to the board to actively update, acquire
The thing is,
items within
the trouble is with this piano, if it's as nice as it looks, I mean, if there's time, we have a time constraint. In other words, they're going to San Diego.
Right.
So if we wanted it, we would have to.
I would just make one observation here. I haven't seen the sofa in the auto house, but I certainly have seen the piano here. And if, when people want to donate an in-kind item, we're saying that in our guidelines, it needs to be historic and blah, blah, blah.
It's hard if
What
you
if
have a
somebody
piece of-
looks at that and says, well, what's that doing there?
Yeah.
This
You
is a
know,
policy
predated.
set at this
Pre-
time, and
pre-
some
grandfather
things are
in.
grandfathered in.
Okay.
But it helps us to make better decisions with those things moving forward.
There you
Yes.
go, good point.
So I totally understand if the decision ends up being it's too much, it costs too much to move it, and if it needs
Well, I
to be
don't mind
handed.
getting some information about potential costs, if you wanna reach out to them and see if it's still available.
It is available,
And
I
then-
checked with her this morning,
Okay.
and I've got 3 requests for bids in right now.
I actually think that with the wood being similar to the wood that's in the music room,
I think it would look pretty there.
I think it would look really
Really
good
nice.
there. Again,
So you've already got
Let's go back.
some potential prices for moving?
I hope to get it today,
But what she said, is she's got 3
Yeah.
inquiries out.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it'd be worth, looking at it, the pictures are wonderful, sometimes you wanna go look at it, just to make sure.
Yeah.
And-
Oh,
Where-
absolutely,
Yeah, where is
it's
this?
in Loveland, that's the one other drawback.
So that,
That also makes the price of
The
moving
moving,
a little.
yeah, it's gonna be expensive to get it down here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll definitely
Well-
wanna hear you. Now, if you get some bids, I guess you could send it out to everybody before the next meeting, so we kinda have that information.
Oh, boy.
I mean,
I mean,
what-
before the
yeah,
next
what are they
meeting?
Oh, no, I didn't say, I didn't mean get them before, I said if
Oh.
you happen to get a few before you know, if they.
Well, I don't think we can wait till the next meeting,
So-
because they wanna move.
If
So-
you just provide
but in-
your guidance, if it's a priority for you to acquire items, then that becomes a city budgetary issue where they find out how much it costs to do that. Brittany has to make a case for her supervisor and all that stuff to make that purchase. So it's just taking the information you guys have in the direction that you would advise, and then that allows her to be nimble
Oh,
and honoring what your intention is.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And she may not be able to,
Yeah.
that's gonna be a case by case basis,
Yes.
you know, if it's possible or not possible.
Right.
But, this way it doesn't lock you guys into, you have to be available for 45 days. Because
Yeah.
we have to have another meeting, we have to
Yeah.
have a
Right,
session,
right.
she has to make a request. We need to make sure that we ask the appropriate people.
I think it comes down to, I think we need to, make a decision if this is what we really wanna do. If we want the funds to go for the piano, or do we want to, just move on?
I would suggest finding out how much
we need
it
to know
might be
how
to
much.
move.
Yeah.
And then you all can discuss and say, yes, we'd like to move forward, and then it comes to me to decide if we can move forward.
I
don't
don't
think
think
we
we
can
want to
do
have
that.
time,
We
so
don't have
I think
time for
that,
that.
do you
Yeah.
wanna make
Oh, I don't mean
determination?
over the course of the next meeting, I mean like, you can find out what the
Via
prices
email.
are, let the board know, and if you all collectively in the next couple days say, yes, we want to move forward, then it
There's
comes to
one
me
thing
to
We've
see if
got,
we can.
we've got in trouble for doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I
That's
also-
one of the
yeah.
things, we can't do that on make decisions unless
Correct.
it's a.
Yeah, we can't make
What if it's a
So the
committee?
decision is, do you wanna place a priority on acquiring large items of historical significance when they pop up?
Okay.
If they have the appropriate time period and aesthetic of the house.
I was gonna say too, we don't, as a board, I don't anyway, know what our financial situation is, really. I don't know how much money we have that we can use, discretional money, I guess. So I guess all we can do is say, we're interested in this, and you guys make the decision if we have enough money.
Correct.
And then do we wanna use money that we might need for something else?
Correct.
You know,
Because
so,
it's a finite
It
amount,
is.
money is finite, so whether it's dedicated to putting the money towards the acquisition of pieces or towards the digitizing process of the scrapbooks
right,
or towards
Video.
the video, these are all things that compete for resources.
Yeah.
And it's like, what priority do you have? So if priority 1 is the video, priority 2 is the digital scrapbook, and then priority 3 is the acquisition of historical significance. Where are these fitting?
that's what we need to
You
give
know,
you
so
guys.
that's the direction that is helpful for Brittany as she moves forward, because that provides her with.
Would it be nice to do that now? You know, not just talk about our priorities, or do we wanna put that, let us all think about it, and talk about it next
Think
time?
about it and talk about it next time, probably.
Yeah, cause you could kind of stew on it, and,
Because Kenny can be included in the
Right.
conversation.
So we should-
I think that's important.
so let's put that on for
And the
future
next
business.
part that comes paired with it is that we need to know what is the balance in Callahan House Fund. It was 60,000 at one point, and certainly before we even did the grant application. And none of those funds were being earmarked for any of the grant work because we had 60,000 from the city to match the 180 grant for the $240,000 grant projects. So all of what was in the Callahan House Fund should still be there because nothing's been acquired or purchased, nothing's been used from the Callahan House Fund. So we should have around $60,000 there.
Which, most likely it's there. So
So that
the
would be good
request
to know.
is where the priorities are, not,
But it also is, do we have funds?
well,
Well, I
obviously
think
the
that's
city
start,
had
and that's
funds
priorities.
because the Callahan is supported by the city. There are funds dedicated annually to the operation and upkeep of the Callahan House.
Right, but that's.
Yes,
There
but
are
we
funds
should be,
beyond
but
that.
we, but we should be able to use
the fund, which is the Callahan
It's
House Fund, which
yeah,
is
the
separate.
Operations budget was separate from the Callahan
And the city is tasked with the budgetary process of the Callahan House. And that is not going to change as far as I am aware, because it is a city facility, it's a city budgeted piece. The advisory board provides a lot of great information that we need, and one of the pieces is just where that priority is. Now, whether that budget is $1 million or $100, I don't know that would change your priority of how you want things to be addressed.
Well, I guess I'm trying to fill out too, and it's not like I've made a decision on this, but it seems to me that we should have the Callahan House Fund that we should be able to tap for specific items, and if we prioritize, and again, it's a question whether we prioritize the fund specifically to buy more historic pieces budgetarily, and then we use the budget items from the city to look at doing something like the video, and then we should be able to recommend that.
I would agree. I think that's stated that way, totally in agreement with that.
Okay. I guess, is that what you're thinking, that we should have the ability to use the funds, the Callahan House funds, because those
Make a
funds were
recommendation
specifically.
for them to be used that way?
Yes, for the board to recommend that funds that are in the Callahan House Fund be used for historic property
That is a
replacement.
recommendation that could be made as a priority.
That's what should be allowed to happen. Now, what the city does with the budgeting process overall with regard to operations, that's the city's decision. While we can suggest or recommend some specific things be included in an annual budget that the city creates for the Callahan House. The Callahan House Fund is its own separate pot that is all the proceeds from
Fundraisers and other things that we've chosen to use.
Proceeds from revenue generating events go into that for the purpose of preserving and restoring anything as needed.
And your
here in the
priorities
house.
in
And
that
that
house.
is what comes from the advice from the board saying,
Right.
you know what,
Which
we
was
need
the
to do
sign.
that. We have the
That's a
funds,
perfect example
Exactly.
of that.
we need to do that. We have the funds in the Callahan House Fund to be able to do that. That's what we, that's what
Totally
we've
agree.
done, and that's what we should continue to do.
Right, so, yes.
I just Googled quickly, what's it cost to move a piano? Basically, it's $89 an hour with 2 movers, it says. I mean, this is just a ballpark.
Yeah,
Just to get some feel for it.
absolutely.
Anywhere from, well, it's not gonna be $100, it's $350 to $450 probably to move a
Do
piano.
they have a minimum? Like,
Do they talk about mileage at all?
No.
Okay.
This is just a ballpark.
okay.
I mean, there's a bunch of them you could Google and they call you back.
It's not,
So let's say we're.
That's not as much as I thought.
I was
it
gonna
was
say,
gonna
I was thinking thousands.
I did
Yeah, me
too.
too.
That's actually
Yeah.
quite.
That makes me go, well, yeah, let's actually think about it.
Yeah.
I think it's worth
I
moving
think it's
forward with it.
worth it.
Yeah.
For the historic piece, and then we have to figure out what we do with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
That one could go in the
See
carrier.
if it's just sitting there for a minute. Yeah.
well, we can go into the auto house for a while,
Just
or
need
it can
some
be collected.
hefty guys.
Well, I just for the city for what purpose
To remove that
to go
and
where?
dispose of the piano.
Well, I think, I mean, there may be some cost involved in that, and we'll need to find out. where
The city doesn't
it's
get
going.
things free.
No.
I wish,
Yeah.
we still pay for that, and the Callahan would be responsible for covering the cost of removal if there's.
Ideally, maybe we could list it for someone that's interested in having it. I know you said that the chances of that might be
Well, it's
slim.
really slim, yeah, it's like zucchini.
But I think it's
Yeah.
worth seeing if
Doesn't
someone's
work well.
interested,
No.
they can.
It's been tuned
Wants
up
to pay to
many
take it
times
out,
and it does
but-
not
Doesn't
hold
hold
it
it
to,
to.
no.
It's.
Right.
It needs to be part of a bonfire.
So I think equally at the time when, if we're interested in moving forward with this, we also need to be figuring out how to get rid of the other one.
Because it's all
Local-
inclusive.
Yes.
There is a local guy in Longmont who makes himself available to bring your items to the dump, and for $50 he'll, fill up his pickup with your stuff. And I did do that once.
That's an
Oh,
excellent
great.
idea, and 1-800-GUT-JUNK.
Yeah.
Oh, is that another
too.
one? Oh,
Right.
excellent. How much does theirs cost?
They charge per space in the truck, and so
Okay.
that would not take much space in their truck. I would
That's
imagine
true.
you
We
guys.
will have to contract
Just
this
upright
person to-
space.
Upright
to do
space.
this for us. I
Pardon?
think this person would have to be contracted or.
You know,
we
well,
need somebody
That,
to-
that piece will get taken care of.
Okay.
That piece will get taken care of. I guess the bigger question is back to that, do
Priority.
you guys want, is it a priority to have Brittany be aware of larger items with historical significance, to upgrade the pieces in the house?
It's not something that, okay.
It's a case by case.
It's case by case,
Case,
it's by item.
because it
So
doesn't happen.
whereas we
very
had
often.
this come up, we thought about it, we thought about it here, lukewarm. With the piano, that's more significant, it's like, maybe we do wanna do that. So it's not a matter of an overarching, well, you know, do you wanna be looking for historic items? It's a matter of case by case, and so this
It's
is.
something
Yes,
else.
you're
Yes,
interested
and
in the
this,
piano.
Yeah.
this particular case, it's a functional thing. I wonder if when we're creating these immersion events where you're
could be
experiencing a time in the past, perhaps there's a piano player that could be brought in to play some of the music.
In
of
the past,
time.
we've had concerts here. And
Okay.
that would be something that would be, if we had a functioning,
Yeah.
the only truly good instrument that we've got in the house is the one upstairs. This one's
Oh,
just
yeah.
not.
Yeah, it's just not
Where it
tunable
is.
anymore.
So we've got a couple of options. We could look at removing this piano completely. We could also look at moving the piano that's in existence upstairs down.
No,
No,
wouldn't do
won't
that. I
Wouldn't
wouldn't
do that. Would
Plus
not.
they have recitals up there, you need
Yeah.
that space. You
Yeah.
need it.
I would leave Alice's
Or-
up there, but this one is, yeah, it's not functional.
So,
Yeah, probably.
The general idea is that, yes, you are interested in piano.
Yes.
So then I think to move forward. so
Well, we need a vote.
I was gonna say,
We need a vote.
Well, let's, yeah, I'll say, let's pull this to a vote that we wanna prioritize, just, this is on an individual
this
basis.
is just a
That
case by
piano,
case.
so at least look into, how do we wanna word this? We wanna prioritize, and we have to act fast enough for these people.
I'm gonna put forth a motion that we vote on, okay? I put forth a motion that we put it to a vote, whether we prioritize this specific item as the piano coming into the house.
I'll second that we're going to prioritize.
Okay, all in favor? Say
Aye.
Yes,
I,
And opposed? No? Okay, unanimous.
So I think the next steps are, is that okay then to use the bids that Cindy is already in the process of requiring?
If you wanna pass those along to Brittany and then we'll
And then
move from there.
If they're
And to
looking for
move
more information, because some of them are asking for, what's the surface like at the residence and
pass
so on.
that along.
That's what I want to know. Should I just pass it on to you to answer those questions?
Sure.
Right.
And that means that you need to contact this Facebook seller.
Yeah. Yeah, would it be okay if, since you've been in contact with them, we can send you that information, but let them know
Yeah.
to reach out
Yeah,
Probably.
absolutely.
today
I-
or?
I will
So that
say
they
that
know,
she
like,
said she was
okay, we're in the
excited about,
process.
because I said it's possibly going to be, or if we did get it would be in the historic Callahan House, blah, blah, blah. And she said, oh, that would be so exciting. She said, the only thing is I need to do it quickly. Because I asked if she'd hold it until this meeting today or midday today, if we decided. And she said, I would love it if you could get it, but I do need to give it to the first person.
I
So
understand.
anyway, I'm just
Okay.
telling you what
So
she
yeah,
said.
if you wanna connect with them and say that I will connect,
Okay.
but. That's a good question. Okay, so yeah, if you can connect with them and say, yes, we'd like to move forward, and then I will reach out to them today, but just so that they hear back from you to say Callahan House is interested, and.
But I need to indicate that it's not a final decision because we don't know the cost yet.
Of
Right.
voting it.
I think from what Karen found, it's going to be fairly reasonable.
It's very reasonable.
Unless
You're
for some
like
reason it
25
does
degrees
not.
dollars.
If it blows,
Yeah.
I think the bottom line is if it blows over the top and we think it's over extreme, and Brittany, you have good taste and
Right.
judgment
We'll
in that.
trust you in
We
that.
trust you in that. If you
Yes.
think it's too much and it's reached over the limit, then just.
Yeah, if it's
Okay,
just-
but I would say, yes, we're interested, we're working on moving forward with the mover, and then I will reach out.
Okay.
And then Cindy, please also give Brittany, your contact for who, came and got the things from your house that we.
Oh, yeah.
And then 1-800 that junk to remove that old piano.
Okay.
Inexpensive
Solutions.
removals.
Inexpensive
Yes,
removals.
just thinking of solutions to remove the old.
Okay, and then, yeah, if you can send me that link.
Because my high school kids on the beach.
So,
During taxes.
so I really respect and hear what you're saying, so I think the bottom line is this only comes up as a case by case basis, and I also think that having a music room without having an instrument in it just doesn't
Kind of
seem
silly.
right.
Yeah.
That's true.
With a couch in it, yeah.
But then I think I do have to agree that, okay, if we as a board are working on a project and we can kind of have it come in and do it inexpensively and free, and we're donating our time to do it, that's one thing, but then the video is something I know I don't have the expertise to do. I don't know anybody else on the board that's willing to do that, and we've already talked about possibly bringing it forward, so I guess, is that something we need to take a vote on? Is that what you're recommending? To put priorities?
No, I think we've already put it forward, for the city to move forward with the
We're
video and
moving
then
forward
getting bids
with
is
the-
their next step.
I guess, and I
just
work
want
differently than Brittany
clarification.
did. We're doing a personality disc profile. And we are not in the same place, which is perfect and awesome. I prefer some structure of like, where do you want to focus energy on? And if something has to fall, the focus would go on the higher ones.
Right.
That works for me, for a way of moving forward. Brittany will have her own preferences of things about if she has time to work on this or this.
Okay.
When a priority is provided, then it's like, oh, you guys have said you value this more at this time and want this to be a priority.
We just mainly want to be able to also take advantage of opportunities.
Yes.
You know, this is an
Be
opportunity.
nimble in that.
Yeah, be
Yes.
nimble,
Yes.
but again, we have to prioritize,
Right.
but this is something we have to act on, so I'm
Yes.
glad we prioritized it. And,
Yeah.
I agree.
And the one thing about this is you're not adding, you're just replacing.
Right,
Yes.
right,
Yes.
yes, and the funds are minimal, it sounds like, you know, hopefully
Yeah.
borderline minimal.
Yeah, borderline minimum, yeah.
Thanks for that,
Yes.
Well, it just makes
that average.
little.
Does this go through the, like, is this an in-kind, does this need to be acknowledged as an in-kind donation or not? Because we are
I don't
paying an
know,
amount.
she's
She's
paying
got
for the
she's
move,
got-
so I doubt it.
She's got some paperwork on it, then that would move me to say yes.
This is an in-kind
It-
donation.
Because any kind of
Historical.
paperwork or
Okay.
any kind of documentation she has on the piano, that would make me say.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
really
Well, at
takes-
least we'll
Right.
record it in our
Absolutely.
inventory and say this was acquired in this way at this
Yes.
time.
Yes.
So it'll that,
There you go.
yeah, okay.
And that'll
Okay.
help her with the
That'd be
tax
nice.
donation.
Yeah.
All right, so that's pretty much
And if you-
a wrap now.
Yeah, any other items from
Where
staff?
are we?
So
We're
you
on
you
items
actually have
from the
items from
board.
staff?
Yeah,
that was,
Any other items from staff?
Not for me.
Okay, and then,
and that was the board, so.
I just,
I think there's additional items from the board.
Yeah.
Karen, did you have something? I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
Oh, well, I
From
did,
Candy.
actually from Candy.
Yeah.
I spoke with Candy and she's back in town right now, but she's prepping for her surgery. There's some things she's gotta do. She's having surgery next week, next Wednesday, I believe she told me. So, that's why she's not here today. And she just wanted everybody to be there. What about prayer for her?
prayer,
Yeah.
for Candy.
Wish her very speedy recovery.
Smooth
Yes.
process and speedy.
Yes,
You keep us informed.
I will, absolutely.
And thank you, Cindy, for filling in as secretary.
Oh,
Yes, thank you, Cindy.
I do have one quick item, and it's only for addition to future agenda items, and maybe something that you might want to begin working on, is the annual report. As as chairperson, you're gonna probably wanna start to recapture all of,
Yeah, I've been
the
thinking about
highlights of the year and begin to draft.
I was gonna bring some up.
Okay, as far as items from the board, we, Cindy, you had brought up, in an email that you wanted to, include.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea.
Is it looks like it's in future agenda items?
Oh, I think that's a little bit different,
Oh, okay.
because the chamber is not.
The chamber said
That
it
is
was.
what
Right,
you,
that's
that's
right.
right.
I mean, it does kinda, it
That
goes
is
along
it.
with.
That's it.
Oh,
She did put it in there.
okay, so that's
That's
the chamber
yeah, I just
communications.
trying to figure out how to word it, you know.
Yeah, it
Right.
was, yeah, my explanation was.
And just so you know, I had reached out to the chamber and gotten a list of things that, that they do every year, and it was said at the time that it wasn't worth our time. I disagree with that statement. I honestly think, Cindy, I think it'd be great if we worked with the chamber and collaborated with them, at least told them what we were doing.
And just an explanation to the board on this and how the idea came up was when we were talking about publicity of our upcoming events. It also occurred to me that there is, besides us pushing the word out to local people, when visitors come to town, it's really a shame that they don't have one place to go for historic landmarks. You know, when they look online, let's say they go to the chamber. That's why we brought up the chamber, because it would be probably the place they would go to find out, oh, we're in town, let's look at, we know Longmont Historic, but the Longmont Historical Society and what we have with the city, they're not in one place.
I agree, but we should then collaborate with LAFA, which is the Longmont Area Visitors Association.
Oh.
And that's what they should do, and that's through the chamber. And that's another board that's here in this town, and we should utilize it.
And St. Vrain, are they not in collaboration with the chamber?
No, St. Rita Historical Society is its own
Wait,
organization.
but she said Longmont
LAFA,
Area
Lava is.
Visitors Association.
and it's
Oh,
with the
okay, you were
chamber.
asking
Well,
about
if
that.
we're interested in
And they have a
some kind of
calendar.
collaboration with St.
They
Vrain.
have a
Yes.
calendar of events. I served on that board. I recommended it.
Yeah, St. Vrain Historical Society, they run Hoverhome.
I-
think that's their headquarters.
yeah.
And Old Mill
I
Park.
thought that,
Which one?
Old Mill Park.
They
I thought that it would be great, if the board, Brittany, whoever it is, reaches out to the Historical Society first, so that it becomes something that both parties feel good about, and there won't be any sense of competition or anything. And then as one, they go to
I think
whoever.
Candy's very active in the historical society.
Oh, okay,
So we can talk to her.
yeah.
She is very good with that, but I also know there's, from what Candy said, there's been some past hurt feelings over that and not wanting to collaborate. I'm
Yeah, she
hoping
would
that-
know about the history of that.
I'm hoping that we could heal those rifts, and then, but I do know that Lava has a monthly calendar that they put out, and that would be one of the things. We would like to get more visitors here, and that's, I just am not sure why we have to.
So if somebody wouldn't know about lava, goes to the
It's that chamber.
chamber, okay,
Mhm.
great.
I'm really sorry, ladies. I have a son that's homesick, and I only have a babysitter till 11:30, so I have to leave.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
We're
We're
kind of
running
running
out of time.
Yeah,
We're
running
running
out of
everybody.
things.
I'll be at the
Yes,
next meeting.
nice
It's
to
very
have
nice.
you.
Good to
meet you.
Makes sense.
I
Thank
hope
you.
your son gets better.
Yeah, I think it's just a teething thing, but you know.
Oh, it'll be just a
Little
summer,
one.
summer cold.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Bye.
Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
You might wanna go that way if they're painting.
Oh,
Yeah, that's kind of good.
Thank you. That is a great communication.
So how's everybody?
Sort of things to-
Everybody else's time here, you know, we can keep going, we're at, almost at
We're
11 here.
getting close.
So we can start with future agenda items. Maybe we can get through this, you know, we've been through these a couple times, so
Yeah.
it's gonna take too long. So real quickly,
What needs to be.
Can we just note that the house manager picture project, that the plan is that's gonna be hung in September, right? Potentially,
I
right?
believe so. I mean, that's still patching up that wall before the hanging starts is part of that sort of
That-
process
that-
Yes.
that we're waiting for. That
Right.
includes this and some other items. So
Right.
And then to also
depending on that timeline.
we need a new picture of the house.
Yes, we
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
And
Yeah, and we also did talk about that the bar would go
Below.
the,
So it wouldn't
Yes.
injure
Current.
the wooden
Right.
frame.
yeah, I was wondering about that. I could
And that's
true.
No.
rather than having it
Yes.
rubbing. So
yes,
yeah, but I think right now it's the wall getting redone.
yes.
And they're installing the hanging process.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
So
so A and E, so that house manager picture project and E, the past and present board member, that wall acknowledgement, those are simultaneously to be happening, so.
Moving forward.
So,
Yeah.
so, then, yeah.
Okay, so,
Club affair, I remember that we said, put that on the October agenda. So we just make a note that will
It's
be on
October.
the October agenda.
Okay.
And then obviously we see the future house restoration, we've got that listed in October, so October.
Is
We
that-
already discussed the Callahan House blast as well. didn't we?
Yeah.
it's been discussed
We
in other
did,
meetings.
so it'll be included, for Art Walk, but then also for the December 1st and 7th open house events.
Okay, so that gets us down to the closet cleaning.
What's really important.
That's a priority.
Well, it's,
Which
you
is
can
kind of-
walk in there now. I will
Brittany's
say that. I
been
did-
working on it.
well, I haven't-
Amazingly so.
I mean, I have
You
not
can
really
walk.
dived. You can walk in there. That's all I've done. I've not gone through
Yeah.
anything
It looked good,
and
though.
sorted through anything. But
Okay, very good.
you can walk in.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah, it looks good.
So yeah, and we do need a desk in the manager's office for that second workstation. So we're gonna be able to fit the one that's in the closet in there as is, but maybe we can take it apart and try to get it back in there. We'll see. But that might help get that out of there. Otherwise, we can, I don't know, see about getting rid of it in some other way. And anyway, so that'll help too. But you can walk. That's all.
That's
Get it
important.
Yeah.
So is that something like the board wants to get together and go
If you
through
need
that
some
closet?
But we
or-
wanted to volunteer if,
Okay.
We do need to.
if you need help.
Okay, well, I will say that the closet clean out is obviously not a huge priority for me
No,
right
no,
now.
Yes.
It's down the road, but
Yeah.
the fact that you can walk in there now and I'm
Excellent.
starting to figure out what's in there is good.
Yes.
So I think,
Leave it
I don't know
where
if
it
that
is.
needs to.
If you
yeah.
wanna put it
Just
back
leave-
on a
just
future
leave it.
board item, so you're aware that we're willing to come in and help.
Okay,
Just kind of leave it hanging.
Leave it
in
hanging.
agenda
Okay.
items, yeah.
sounds good.
Flower ornament.
Flower order, I was gonna talk with, who is it, with, I guess Ben's.
I don't know much about it yet. I think Ben probably knows.
There's
but-
some.
If I remember right, it's Mel, maybe you can correct me. Ben said to us at the beginning of the year, because you'd asked about the flowers, and he said that the
They did.
budgeting for that gets done in October or November, am I wrong? But that is when we
The
would have
flowers are ordered.
had to have a plan put together that this is what we want, so that those costs can be included in the budget.
It'd be helpful for that discussion to have happen prior to January, because I believe, and we were ready to say, hey, and they said we did the order last week. We're like, okay, well, thanks for including us.
Right.
And that was fun. And that's okay, but
But you have the plan.
No, but
Because
that's
you've
how-
already put it together, right?
Right.
And so now it's just a matter of making sure, like, we get that in the.
yeah.
Okay.
And Brittany has been delightful in meeting the different players in parks who are working with the buildings and the grounds in areas. So I think a discussion this fall winter, so that by the end of the December meeting or the November meeting, if that's the last budget meeting or the last functional meeting, if she has an awareness of what to advocate for and to supplement when she finds out what that order is, then she would be
I
able to make
think
those.
one thing I'd like to mention about our grounds out there, and we've taken some walkthroughs on it, and I think we need to put that on a priority list too.
Yeah.
Not just buying flowers and sticking them in, but the grounds need some upgrading, some maintenance, quite a bit. They're down, I would call it down level out there.
Yeah, and there's been some hard things happening with the fulfillment of contracts
Yeah.
that the city's noted, and Brittany being here is going to
Right,
be
maybe
very, very
We've
helpful.
already been working with.
Yeah,
Ben.
one thing I really noticed out there, and I've noticed it a couple of years ago, and considering that we have weddings and people wearing high heels and stuff, the ground is like a miniature roller coaster. I mean, it's just up and down and up and down. It hasn't been
It's been rolled.
rolled or leveled in years, and I really think we should get one of our turf managers from the golf course, because, you know, they keep those fairways nice and flat. And I really think we need to get a serious look at the grounds. I also think it's almost to the point of being overplanted. I think there's areas, especially when you go on the south side here, it's just overtaken. We could just start pulling, I mean, there's bushes that you don't see because there's other stuff growing over them.
Right.
We really need to get out there and thin it out. I mean, when you see a formal garden that's, you know, really maintained, everything is so pristine and the borders are
Yes,
nice and
it's
smooth. And like I said, everything out there is, well, kind of eaten by bugs right now, but there's a lot of overgrowth that just needs to be really worked on, really thinned out, right back to our formal beauty.
I'm glad you caught that.
And I think it's my understanding from when I was walking out there that they ripped up the grass recently because of working on the sprinkler system or something.
And they're working on filling that back in.
Yeah, but you know, then again, will create a depression too.
And I agree with him, so then it comes down to access for anybody with a disability, anybody with wheelchair access, anything like that. I think that it should be our priority.
Yeah, I think we've just left it to the contractors for, you know, the people grow but we really need to look at it and say, you know, we're not gonna be a formal gardens if we keep letting it get away from us.
We need to provide guidance. And
Yes, guidance, definitely.
Very good
So-
point. Thank
so-
you.
So is this something that I think it should be on as a new business to be discussed for the October meeting, or actually September meeting, and we get a game plan, and you said you already have a list of flowers and stuff. I would love to see what you think we should put out.
Well, I have the list that we worked up a year ago, I'll find it.
I'd like to see
Somewhere.
it. I remember that, but I'd like to see it again.
Yeah, I'll have to find it, but if not, I can do some from memory. I
Okay.
can't find the actual.
Mini pastas, I love those. That was a great idea.
Yeah, that was kind of disappointing, like, oh, we didn't get them.
We can do it this
The
time.
nice thing, I'm just gonna throw in that little plug for the one around the sign. Hostas are nice because not only are they perennials, but they don't run away from you. In other words,
Right.
perennials have a bad habit of overgrowing, but hostas are just well behaved. They stay pretty much.
Stay in there.
If you get the minute, now there's monster hostas that are like 3-4 feet tall, but you get the smaller ones.
And they're pretty.
Yeah, they're very
Yeah.
pretty.
They provide a beautiful.
Yeah, they just kind
Yeah.
of merge
Absolutely.
together.
Right.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
kind
they
of
do.
merge together to become a nice border. And then I was thinking, to make it even easier, and that's shady there.
It's
shady. We could,
Hostas like that.
yeah, they like that around the edge, and we could do something like periwinkle or vinca, that's also a perennial that stays very low to the ground. And then it'll be just mainly pull some weeds, you know,
Right.
little kind of take care
Low
of itself.
maintenance,
Yeah, very low maintenance.
but very pretty in the
Yeah.
shade. I just, if
I
I can make a recommendation, and could we please put that on as new business with
Yeah,
with-
I just put grounds as in flowers.
and flowers and
Browns, yeah.
and your list of recommendations, because then you have it. And then as soon as we know when we need to get that turned in, we don't miss the opportunity.
Yeah, that would be really helpful.
So, agenda, we'll put that in.
Okay, so that'll be new business for September.
Yeah.
And
You can just put it in
find that
grounds
list
and
in the
flowers.
meantime.
Yeah. If I
Okay.
don't, I'll work from memory.
Okay.
Little shaky on that, but we'll.
You got it. You got it.
Okay, so that was a quick trip through our future agenda items. Is there anything else anybody wants to present, bring up? Here's your chance. Okay, can I get a,
11:04.
Can I get a motion to-
We adjourn.
Second.
okay, approved?
Yay.
Yay.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Was that a comment or a?
We did it, girls.
Where do I input this once I got some minutes?
Send it.
Send it to Brittany.
So just send it to you in a Word doc?